pressing the thumbs button, excuse me, subscribing, sharing, commenting. I appreciate the kind words. I appreciate the dialogue. Thank you everyone for your support over the years. Hey, if you guys haven't done this already, please go to the community section tab of my channel and please vote. Vote for Scott Wagenseller from Gate Security for the CalSAGA board. CalSAGA is basically, in my opinion, it's a puppet being pulled by the strings of Allied Universal and the other large companies that are out there. I'm not too happy with CalSAGA, so I'm asking you guys to please vote for Scott. You might be wondering, what is the significance, Sean? That's not even a real CalSAGA voting mechanism. Like, you have to be CalSAGA member and vote, and your channel has nothing to do with CalSAGA. I understand that, but it's sending a message. We're sending a clear message that we're not going to tolerate these ridiculous bills that are being signed against California private security guards. Eventually, it makes its way to other states. That's just the way it works. California is a breeding ground for the security profession, and it just keeps going east. Onward, I want to talk about training facilities and just some random thoughts I have been having about them. Guys, there are a lot of firearm instructors out there. There's over, I think California has over 1,000. I don't care if somebody takes their firearm instructor course like, I don't know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. So look, in California, to teach a firearms course for private security, you need to complete the 40-hour NRA law enforcement instructor course. Not the regular pistol instructor or the rifle instructor. It's a basic handgun law enforcement course. If your course is in 40 hours, you took the wrong course. And then you can also take the California Post course, Peace Officer Standards and Training course, which actually I'm doing that course. I'm teaching that course October 21st, like the third week of October. Teaching that class. If anybody is qualified, interested, reach out to me. But that's another course option that you need to get your certificate to teach private security in California. Another option is if you have like a federal certificate, you went to FLETC or something and you have a instructor license. Instructor certificate. Anyhow, with the Bureau of Security Investigative Services, also known as BSIS, they just require one of those certificates. I don't care if you completed that class 50 years ago or 30 years ago. As long as you're doing like the requalifications, right? Anybody, I don't want to say any idiot, right? Anybody that has brain matter can score a target for the most part, right? I'm not asking you to attend all of these like instructor development courses every year, but at least as long as you completed the foundational course, you're good, because all you're doing is scoring targets. But if you're teaching the 2-day class, which is required in California, and then I think in Florida, they require like 32 hours or 30 something hours of training. If you're teaching the California courses or the Florida courses, I highly recommend that you complete instructor development training every single year. If somebody has last taken one of those classes like 20 or 30 years ago and you need to take a 2-day course from them, I would say absolutely not. Absolutely not. And if you're thinking about opening up your own firearm training facility, you can't just take one class that's like 40 hours 10 years ago or 4 years ago and think that's sufficient, because it's not. You should be constantly taking courses, okay? And if you don't take courses and you had a lot of training before, as long as you're being critiqued, you're constantly being evaluated by other instructors, like co-instructors that you're teaching with, That's not a problem, right? Like, you don't have to take a formal class, but most people don't even do that. Okay. I've known of security academies where you meet the instructor, you pay your fees, and they hand you a packet, like a booklet you read, and then you do a test. I mean, is that really effective learning? That type of learning would basically involve somebody who's an auditory learner. I'm sorry, that's a visual learner, right? Not a lot of people can do that. Now, that's my preferred way, though. Like, I rather read a book than listen to people. But I understand the significance of kinesthetic learning and audio learning. Not everybody learns the same way. Okay. There are some people, like if you get a group of 10, one person might understand the material, but how do you even know that this person is understanding the material? And if you are a student, what if you have a question? Who are you going to ask? I mean, I guess you can ask the instructor, but I just think that those are the worst academies. And sometimes they get like a 4 or 5 star review on Yelp. And I think that's just because what they end up doing is they sit in the class, they have the book in front of them, and all they're doing is going through the booklet. They're going through the test questions and looking up the answers in the booklet for the appropriate answer. And their class is usually shortened by like 90%. I mean, you can complete these classes really, really fast. I admit I used to give this type of training where I had security officers like sit down for 4 hours, whatever time requirement was required. Read the booklet and then fill out the answers. I mean, that's how I used to teach until I got a little bit smarter and started to realize that not everybody learns that way, and you're kind of cheating the students in a way, right? And I guess some of you guys might be saying, well, you cheated the students. Yeah, I used to cheat the students by offering them this crappy training, right? I didn't know better. I should have known better, but fast forward 14 years later, I realized that now that's not the best way. Okay. For sure, vet your instructors. If you plan on opening a training facility, a lot of your students are subscribers of this channel, believe it or not. There's a lot of CalSAGA members that are subscribers of this channel. The importance of me discussing that is that I constantly vouch for instructors who go through continuing education, good instructors with a good foundational background as well. Vet them. Ask them, what is your experience? So, if you're teaching a guard card class in California, it's 8 hours, right? You should give yourself an introduction. Like, what makes you qualified to teach this class? And I know that some people might say, well, if you don't want to take this class, then don't take it. You don't have to take it, but some people don't understand. On the private sector, some people don't understand what your experience is. I think a minimal as a guard card instructor, I think that you should have at least 4 years of private security experience before you could start teaching. And I'm talking about as close to full-time experience as possible. One of the reasons why I also mention this is because in California, if you have a private patrol operator license, you can teach the guard card course as long as you have a qualified instructor. The BSIS does not articulate what a qualified instructor is. So we're left to industry interpretation. If I ever have to testify as an expert, in which I am qualified to do, on testifying on security, private security standards, I would argue that it all depends on the instructor's experience. But generally, what we're seeing is about 4 years experience is the minimum amount of experience for somebody to have a good understanding of private security industry standards and a decent measure of success as them being a private security guard instructor. Now, some of you might be saying, Sean, I've been in private security for 1 year. Well, you don't know what you don't know, right? Um, Fast forward, if you like, you teach after a 1 year experience, and then you teach after 7 years experience. You're gonna say, you know what, I really didn't know much. And but to be quite frank with you guys, um, I taught. I became a BSIS firearm instructor in 2010. I went to the NRA 40-hour handgun instructor class, and I thought I knew it all, right? I scored. My stepdad taught me, former combat Marine, Vietnam veteran. He was a Marine Corps instructor, informal instructor. But he taught me how to shoot like pretty damn good in the police academy. I got the top shooter award out of 67 recruits, like number one. Again, you don't know what you don't know. So I thought I was like premium steak, right? Like the best of the best. Well, what I didn't realize is that secondary follow-up shots matter. Third, I was basically a one-shot dude. Hey, you shoot once, right in the bullseye. It wasn't even timed that much, and I could just basically push faster scores, better scores than I could push better scores than anybody else at the academy. When I took the instructor class, I thought I was floating on clouds, right? And then all of a sudden, I started taking other classes, and I wasn't the best of the best anymore. And I started to realize, you know what? I really didn't know what I didn't know. And that happens with a lot of people. Right now, I've taken, if you guys been following me on Instagram, I have an Instagram account under the Firearms Trainer. I take so many classes, like every year. Formally, I take at least one, sometimes 3 classes, right? But I'm constantly on the range. I'm constantly training, and I believe that I probably hit, like, I think that there's like, I don't know, 60% more to learn out there. As soon as I completed my first NRA class, I thought I was at 100% learning capacity, or I was at 100% capacity of what there is to learn out there. Now I believe there's like 50% more. Like, I feel a lot more incompetent training with people that really know what they're doing. So again, you don't know what you don't know. Let's go through the comments real quick. Hey, Mike is here. Doug is here. Mike, my moderator, is here. He says, Hail Cal Saga. Right? Oh my goodness. Mike was like, he's at it this morning. Mr. Fusion says, does that also apply to becoming a field training officer in the police department? Experience 4 to 5 years. Yeah, so at a police department, I know California, right? To become a police sergeant, it's a minimum usually of 4 years of law enforcement experience. At the 4th year, it is said that I don't say you know everything, but you meet minimal competence to do your job in maybe an above satisfactory manner, right? You've experienced just about any call for service that's out there. That's your 4-year veteran. Field training officers, you're looking at usually 2 years of experience, but sergeant usually 4. And I did mention that you should have about 4 years of experience before you start teaching as a security officer. Now, some of you might be saying, like, hey, I only have 2 years on, but I feel competent. And that might be okay. You also have to realize that some of these people have been working 2 or 3 security jobs in a short amount of time. If I work back-to-back double shifts for 1 year, it's like I have 2 years of experience as a security officer. So you also have to keep that in mind. I'm not downgrading anybody's experience. I'm just saying that generally, a lot of security professionals feel comfortable at the 4th year. Okay. Now, some feel comfortable after a month. They feel like they could be a branch manager at a month. Sure. If you feel like you're ready, then that's great. But once again, you don't know what you don't know. Mike's from the Professional Security Journal says, I'd say fusion. I keep saying LVMPD. They make you work the field. So that's Las Vegas Metro. They make you work the field as a patrol as a patrol officer for 5 years at a minimum before they look at you for specialized assignments. Yeah, canine SWAT, and I think LAPD is 5 years, and that's how I caught a rogue cop. I mean, a rogue security guard, Luis. Again, he was a friend of my my cousin, a dating partner, and he said that he worked for the LAPD Railroad Division, right? And I was a dumbass back then. I still am. But I think I was 19 years old. I was a police explorer at the time, and I was impressed. I go, oh, cool, man. Like, I want to go and ride along with you. He's like, yeah, no problem. Just fill out the ride along form. I need to clear it up with my watch commander. You can come out. Anyhow, he said he had two or 3 years experience. And my uncle, who happened to work in that area and to be well acquainted with the LAPD, said, hey, this guy's full of it. You can't be like a detective after 3 years on the LAPD. Maybe even 2 years. I don't remember what it was. He's like, no, there's no way that he's a real officer. He's faking it. And I go, no, uncle, he's not. He's like, he's a real one. I know. I saw his police car. I heard LAPD radio traffic on the scan. I didn't know it was a scanner, but it was a scanner. And it would make those like beep, beep sounds that LAPD has for the priority calls. So a couple of weeks after that, he got arrested for impersonating a police officer and robbery. He's pulling over people, getting their ID, taking their money while he had a handgun in the holster. He didn't point it at anybody. He just had it in the holster, and they got him for armed robbery. So once again, he had less than 5 years experience. That should have been a warning sign, right? And I went a little bit off track. Sorry, guys. Mr. Fusion says, what are some red flags to look for in a security training facility? Just because someone has like 20 years of security and police work don't mean they can make good teachers. I agree. So Mike says, start with making sure your instructors are properly credentialed. That's why I harp on my cred so much. Absolutely. Hey, security body cam channels here. Welcome, sir. He hasn't been here for a while. Mr. Fusion says, shoot, some people are ready to become a branch manager after 3 months in security. I'm more ready to retire instead. Jerry says, sir, I started working for a private security company. Do you have any advice on how to get leads and recruiting security personnel? Thank you in advance. I cover this in like 5 videos. I think your best way of recruiting is at colleges, and also at Police Explorer post. So I was a Police Explorer, 1997 to like 1999-ish. If you're able to like walk into these police stations and say, hey, you know what, I'm so and so. Do you have an Explorer post? Yes, matter of fact, I do. Is there any way that you can give me like 15 minutes so we could try to recruit security staff? Because guys, I'm telling you, your better staff comes from police explorers, and here's why. They want to be future police officers, and they understand the importance of showing up on time, being efficient, and just being an overall good security officer, because they got to go through like their own boot camp, their own standards. I just think it's the best place to go. Now, where I work at right now, the explorers that they used to recruit, I mean, there's some good explorers, like 1% of them were great, 10%. But when there's a troublemaker that came in, like the mom brought him in, hey, my kid's causing problems. What can we do? We had administrators that I worked under that would say, and supervisors, hey, bring them to the Explorer post. We can fix them. Like, no, we don't want, it's not like a scared straight boot camp. We don't want troublemakers as explorers. But there's some posts that are running, like Explorer posts that are running that way. But I think that that's a better way to find them, is through explorers. They're young, they're eager, they want to learn, and they know that if they screw it up, they might screw up their chances in law enforcement. And maybe, guys, maybe they might just stay in private security. I've known a couple of explorers who it just law enforcement just didn't work out for them, and they're currently in private security right now, and they're making some good money, and they're working for good employers. So that's one of the options that are out there. There's some more I could probably think of in another video, but for sure the Explorer post. Okay, and ask to speak to an Explorer advisor. Hold on there. Oh, Mike, thank you. Moderator Mike, thank you. We should send the homeless children there. Let's see. Moderate that one. Doug says, my stupid company just called me. Sir, are you on site yet? I reply, it's a holiday today. You guys are funny. Mike says, started working or working for yourself. That's a different. Yep. Ross says, there's so much competition for contracts. I'm thinking about taking another route. Just some self-disclosure. You guys know I had a PPO license. I had my own security company called, what the hell was it called? Dragon Securities Network. And it just didn't work out. But at the same time, I had a training facility and a private investigator license. My revenue from private investigations, from training facility, outnumbered any PPO. Money coming from PPO, like 100 to 1. Like, I had like nearly no business in private security. I couldn't get no contracts, right? So I ended up just closing that and keeping open my training facility and keeping open the private investigations license that I had. I rather do that. I rather do training for private security. Like right now, what I'm essentially doing is doing private security training, doing education, showing you guys where to get the best, or how to vet your instructors in a way, right? And that's part of the training. I get paid to have this channel up. Like I actually get revenue from YouTube. It's not a lot. I put in a lot of time, and I get maybe, I'm down to like $150 a month. I get paid in ad revenue. So I don't get paid nothing, but it's something. Like I don't know what I'm supposed to buy for $150. Other months is $200, right? But that's the extent of my YouTube revenue. Mohammed Omar says, greetings from Morocco. Morocco. Wow. Hey, welcome. Mike from the Professional Security Journal says, I was an explorer, state security. Hey, Mike, I didn't know you were an explorer. I mean, you probably told me, and I probably forgot. I didn't know that. I know that you're a CAP, the Civilian Air Patrol, but I didn't know that you were the other. Ross says, you definitely took a good route. Your videos helped me a lot during my PPO process, and I thank you for that. Hey, thanks so much. Thank you for making my morning. Thanks. I really appreciate that. Yeah, guys, it's crazy because, like, I had almost no PPO business, yet I create study materials for those who want to start their own security company, and I base that off, like, my I guess experience on getting contracts for private security is like almost nothing, but I base my, I guess, trainings on interactions with you guys. Like, I'll have a conversation with somebody, a couple. So, for example, I've consulted with some security professionals that protect, like, your top 10 annoying movie stars, um, or musicians, like the ones that just annoy the living crap out of everybody, except the fans, right? Um, I will never disclose who they work for because I'm going to destroy future lines of communication. Nobody's going to trust me. But trust me when I say that. You know, I sound like Kamala Harris when she says that. Trust me when I say this. I need to reset myself with some of her conversations. Anyhow, I've sat and had lunch with some of these executive protection agents that protected some high priority people. Maybe not high priority for me, but for them, definitely high priority. And I would ask, like, hey, how'd you get started? And one guy told me that he was based in another country. He dated this girl who was an upcoming, like, musician. And she was mentored by, like, again, the top, somebody in the top 10. And he happened to, like, provide executive protection to his girlfriend for free, obviously, like, his girlfriend. And then that's where he got introduced to these other celebrities. Like, you got to already be there. Something I learned as a PPO is, like, you're not going to get these executive protection contracts unless you're already there. You guys that follow me on Instagram, there's all kinds of, I guess, upcoming rappers, hip hop artists. Like, they're not going to make it. They suck, right? They suck, but they have some connection with, like, you know, I don't listen to rap that much. Snoop Dogg, not Jay-Z. I'm into country now. I've been listening to country the last 10 years, and I don't know who the popular hip hop artists are right now. Tupac, Notorious B.I.G. You guys are like, damn, Sean, you're outdating yourself for like 20 something years. I don't know, guys, but whoever the popular ones are right now, you have these, like, subpar rappers. They're never gonna get up there. They just suck, right? These ones are creating their own security companies. Most of them are unlicensed, I would argue, right? But the thing is, they are already in that environment. I can't get in that environment. Like, I like country music, but I don't go to country music concerts. I don't have friends that know, like, upcoming country music stars. Like, I'm not in that part of. I'm not in that realm of business. So, am I going to ever get a shot at providing executive protection at a country star? Like, no, I'm not. You have to be there. You have to be there already. So security body cam channel says, Kamala, what a joke. You know, let's not get political here, guys. We're definitely not a political channel, but make sure that you vote conservative. Oh man. So Mike says he did his Explorer years. What the hell? 15 to 21. Dude, that's a long time as an Explorer. Jeez. He said he aged out of Explorers a month after Route 91. Oh, okay. Yeah, because there was a Las Vegas officer that lost his life, and I think he authored a book. And I was like, I wonder how Mike knows this person. Like, he knows quite a bit of Las Vegas Metro guys, but no wonder. Like, you're an Explorer and you worked in that area. Okay. Mike says, Jerry's here. Welcome. Mike says, yeah, as a new EP agent, you have to have your foot in the door, then go work for yourself and start your own thing. Absolutely. Security body cam channel says outdating. I'm into 70s soul and R&B funk. Yeah, there you go, my man. Hey, you know what? Like the music that I grew up with, Tupac, Notorious B.I.G., I hate Jay-Z, by the way. That whole band of rappers, like that's considered oldies. And I guess Security Body Cam Channel is really oldies. Oldies but goodies. Jerry says, I am more into trying to go for construction development companies, retail industry, housing, and warehouse. Basically, leads. They'll land me 24/7 accounts that limits liability and risk. Yeah, definitely. Hey, your construction projects, perfect. Retail, great. But I think the least liability is construction projects for sure. And it may not look like it, but there's a lot of money involved in providing PPO services for construction companies, guys. I mean, these small tools cost thousands of dollars and they just leave them around. You have a lot of equipment that gets stolen every single time, especially in California, because there's like no repercussions if you commit a lower level crime, even a higher level crime, right? Jeez. I think we got a little bit off track talking about private security and contracts, but that's fine. Hey guys, just make sure that you vet your instructors. If you want to start your own security company, security train company, I would argue for at least 4 years of security experience. What else? For firearms training, like if you got to just do a requalification, I don't care if you completed your firearms training course 20 years ago or 30 years ago and you completed no continuing education since. I'm good with that because all you're doing is scoring my target. But if I'm taking the 2-day class, I want to be able to I want to be trained by somebody that knows what they're doing, that has continuing education. Okay? What was I going to say? Oh, and I'm also willing to pay more money for instructors that have more of a solid background. You guys, like I don't know how much does it cost now for a firearms permit, like we're not counting fees. We're not counting the $80 or $90 for firearm permit. We're not counting life scan fees, just training fees alone, right? With no ammunition. I don't know what it costs now. Is it $200? Is it $250? Anyhow, I think that you guys should pay $250 for training fees. I'm sorry, you should pay $400 instead of $250 of training fees. When you say, I'm sorry, when one instructor has significant more training experience than the other. And what I'm adding is that instructor has experience developing students. The thing is, the 2-day class it's a foundational course in California. Even Florida has a 30-something hour course. That's where you develop your foundational skills to be a good firearms student, right? A good handler of firearms is you develop your core principles in that class. I want to have the best instructor possible. I mean, I hate to use the analogies a lot of people use, like for like surgeons, right? Would you rather have a 25-year surgeon or somebody that's been doing this for a year, right? I'd rather have that guy that's been making 20-something years of mistakes compared to somebody that hasn't even had a chance to make some of the mistakes that are common with surgeries. Good analogy, bad analogy, I don't know, but I think you guys get it, right? In the beginning of my firearm career, I've been having, and I still struggle with recoil management. I know how to tame it now, but if I can get one person to teach me how to get a super fast follow-up shot, even 3 shots or 4 shot strings, almost nearly touching with each other, I'll pay $1,000 for that. Now, I've accomplished my goal already, but it took me so many years. I mean, my firearms journey consistently took me 5 years. I'm not even adding 2010. I started all this. I'm not even adding the 90s when my stepfather taught me how to shoot. I'm not adding my 2010 NRA course. my real firearms journey really began in 2021 is when it really started. And I gave it full throttle. Full throttle referring to just taking a lot of formal courses and then applying what I know. I'm not going to be somebody that's out here saying, I've been teaching for 20 years, 30 years. No, you know what? For me, technically I've been teaching for 14 years, but I think that I've reached a decent level of confidence and competence in 2021. And for instructors out there that say I've been doing this for 20 years or 30 years, I think they're saying that because they're compensating for a lack of confidence, or a lack of maybe lack of foundation. Maybe they haven't done any updated training. So instead of saying like what trainings that they attended and having like a resume online or a resume that they produce in class, they just say, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing this for 40 years. Even law enforcement, that's just the most annoyingest thing ever, is when a supervisor says, I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing it for 40 years. Like, I don't care how long you've been doing this. Show me what it is that I need to know now. Like, lead me to the next step. Don't care how long you've been doing this. And if you're a screw up, security guard, officer, police officer, when you tell me that you've been doing this for 30 years, 40 years, you're telling me that you've been screwing up for 30 or 40 years. That's what you're essentially telling me. Yeah, people have been tolerating you for 30, 40 years. Somehow you managed through the cracks. Let me go through the comments real quick. Ross says, great analogy. I just got my exposed firearm permit and I wanted to work for that 1 to 2 years, then possibly move on to executive protection. Here in California, some companies pay well. So I'm in California also, Raw. Look, if you want to work executive protection, you need to work for a security company that offers executive protection. At least you have some way in. Like, it doesn't matter if you're guarding a construction site. If you make the right connection, the right network with the right person at the right time, you could eventually move up to executive protection. But if you work for a security company that only offers construction projects, you're not going to probably go to executive protection. Okay. If you want to be an executive protection for like a movie star, you're not going to get there working mall security. You got to already be there. Be an upcoming movie star, right? Be an upcoming musician. That's going to get you in the arena. I talked to maybe 3 people over the past couple of years. They were pro football players. I think pro baseball, mostly football players. They had to retire out because of like an injury, and they want to start their own security company. Well, guess what? When you played for a major team, that already puts you into the circle of elite. I hate to use the word elite, but it puts you into the circle of access, right? You have access to agents and a whole lot of other people, but you're there already. I guess it's like the story of, I guess it's like a Cinderella fantasy, right? I don't know if I have any female subscribers. I do, but I don't know if they watch these videos. But let's just say you're a female, and you want to marry Prince Charming. Like, Prince Charming is most likely going to come from the same socioeconomic scale as you, or the same way of life. So, for example, if you're a tweaker chick, you're transient, you're living in a van. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're doing that and you're tweaking, you're on fentanyl, like, you're not gonna find a Prince Charming that's a millionaire. Like, that's not gonna happen. What you're gonna end up doing is marrying, I don't know, a heroin dealer or something like that. I don't even know if this is good analogies, but you have to be in that boat already. Um, it's like a millionaire, right? Even if you're a dude, right, and you're like, oh, my goal is to marry a millionaire chick, or a billionaire chick. Okay, cool. You're not gonna get that, um, with the current social economic class that you're in right now. Like, somehow move up. I don't know what. Do the pulls, right? Maybe you can be the pull boy, and work your magic into, um, into a date with a billionaire chick or woman. I don't know. My analogies are just getting out of control this morning. Sorry, guys. I gotta just stop. Oh my gosh, man. Mike says, my business partner in my own training business, his best friend in Arizona, is a lethal instructor for now. I'm doing the rest of the duty belt. I have more of the company content as a result. Good. Mike says, the less lethal and vast majority of instruction in my course content from all my credentials. And then he says, Sean, I made a video on that. Your years mean nothing. What you done within your years. No, I remember you did do a video on that. And then Mike says there's classes, $1,000 to $3,000 at a minimum per EP course. Security Body Cam says, with EP, it's also who you know within the industry. Ross says, you are who you surround yourself with. Yep. And then Security Body Cam says, life is not like Richard Gere and Julia Roberts in the film Pretty Woman. I was forced to watch that movie one day, by the way. Anyhow, Slender 169 101 says, sup, Sean? I'm supervising today along with our security sergeant, and oh my God, he's an asshole. Any advice? Not right now. Not right now, but I'll think about you. Good luck. So Mike mentioned the EP courses, or $1,000 to $3,000 courses. Guys, that's a networking event. So when I began my firearms training journey, in 2021, there was like 2 or 3 upcoming instructors that weren't even well known. Like, nobody even knew them in the firearms training community. I instantly recognized them because we got a lot of heads turning, like, what the hell? Like, you just did what? Like, you beat everybody on these times. You're kicking ass in this course, and you're even offering some suggestions when the instructors ask you, like, how'd you do this? There was probably like 3 guys that own successful training companies right now, and they weren't even known at that point in time. What I'm saying is, and then they started networking with other people, and other students started to see their expertise. Like, these instructors that I saw that were my fellow students, I'm going to be taking some classes with them in the next 5 years. That's how good that they were. So it's kind of like marketing for themselves. But anyhow, for these EP courses, that gets you within the line of sight of potential hiring managers. For example, like Gavin D. Becker and Associates. That class is like, I don't know, is it $15,000 or $20,000? It's a lot of money, but you're getting views from the hiring managers or potential hiring managers, right? They see how you perform. I teach at the local police academy. When I see a police recruit performing above standards, I'll pull that student to the side and say, hey, have you considered working for my agency? If not, why? Hey, maybe can I get you to turn in an application? And I'd say, hey, you make a really good office. You make a really good partner. Turn the application. We could be great partners together. I rarely do that in the police academy. But I've had those opportunities. But it already gets you into that boat. Now, $15,000, $20,000, don't pay that because there's no guarantee. But there's EP courses that are like $1,000 to $3,000. Get yourself in those classes. Now, I will tell you that if you underachieve, you're a low performer, you are a high opinion, low output individual, you're not going to be invited to nothing. If you're annoying, you suck, you're not going to be invited to nothing. If you're arrogant, you're not going to be invited to nothing. But these classes are recruiting frenzies. Okay? So, that's all I got. That's all I got, guys. Looking forward to the content, dialogue, and comments. Take care.